Mr. Investor, welcome back to the channel, baby. This is not financial advice and this is for entertainment only. Bionano Genomics has been releasing a lot of information on Mr. Loverman. No, it's not Shabba, but it is Dr. Ravindra Kohi. So this doctor based at Augusta University has been bringing out all the gems. So first of all, Bionano Genomics has been talking about Cytopia today. They said Dr. Ravindra Kohi at Augusta University describes his progress in developing a laboratory developed test for solid tumors with sapphire. Preliminary results showing 100% concordance between optical genome mapping and the current workflow. So laboratory developed test for cancer, solid tumors. What else?
Oh yeah, daddy, tell me.
May the 3rd, Bionano Genomics 2021. They then announced that Dr. Ravindra Kohi and his team has designed and developed a laboratory developed test for pediatric patients suspected to have neurodevelopmental genetic disorders. He is also currently working on developing additional optical genome mapping laboratory developed tests for prenatal genetic disorders and other indications. So what's good about this is they were speaking about it and saying that it can basically replace chromosomal microarray and then karyotyping. All of this workflow is widely considered to be cumbersome, time-consuming, expensive, and inefficient. However, an optical genome mapping laboratory developed tests would find all the information that is recommended by medical guidelines, by CMA and Fragile X testing, by chromosomal microarray and karyotyping, but optical genome mapping also offers the potential to achieve a higher rate of diagnosis using a workflow that is easier, faster, and lower costs. So first was cancer, now we got prenatals here, and genetic disorders. When we look at the overall market for genetic testing, if we see the genetic testing market size, it's expected to grow at 11.5% compounded annual growth rate, and it's going to be around about $23.1 billion by 2027. If you look into the genetic testing market segmentation, we can see predictive testing, carrier testing, prenatal and newborn testing, diagnostic testing, and if we go down to application, you can see cancer, genetic diseases, cardiovascular diseases, and others. And if we look at the key players there, we can see this name Quest Diagnostics in the mix. Bionano Genomics actually has an equipment evaluation agreement with Quest Diagnostics, and as of December 2020, Illumina and Quest Diagnostics represented 17.3% and 10% respectively of the company's total accounts receivable balance. So they're testing out the sapphire, baby. So we can see this guy's developing LDTs. Let's look at what else he's up to. July 2020, we can see here that he conformed this consortium. So it's called the C19 Host Genome Structural Variant Consortium, formed by Dr. Ravindra Kohi at Augusta University. So who is within that and what is it about? So he was using the Sapphire machine. You can see here the team plans to analyze at least 1,000 patient genomes with Sapphire, and the consortium was basically looking for predispositions to C19. They were trying to identify genomic variants that influence resistance or sensitivity to C19 in terms of disease progression and drug response. If we look into the actual consortium, you'll see here some top universities here across the board. They even have the original university that I went to and did my first degree at, University of Northampton, and they've also got a Filipino university here called UP Diliman. UP Diliman is University of the Philippines. Diliman, you can see here, it's a public research university. You'll also see Rockefeller University and Perkin Elmer. So all of these guys will be having some exposure to the Sapphire. So let's take a look at what's been going on in England with C19 and research. We have opened up a mega lab. There's actually 2 mega labs that have opened in the UK. This is for diagnostics, so they run diagnostic facilities, helping the UK have a faster turnaround time for test results. Now we have a system here called Track and Trace with C19, and if you go into this document and scroll down, the laboratories are currently processing around 2 million tests a week, and they are using new facilities and technology to process results even faster. And according to this site, 1 in 3 people in England have received a C19 test at least once during the launch of the NHS Track and Trace. But all of this stuff doesn't really interest me. What I wanted to look at as well was, are we going to be used, and is there potential for Sapphire to be used here? And upon scrolling down, you can see there's lots of stuff about a network of laboratories, lighthouse laboratories, and if you scroll further down, they're talking about investing. So they want to invest in automation and technology. So as well as announcing these 2 mega laboratories that are joining the network, they're investing in new technology to process faster results, they're automating parts of the process, and they're installing new machines within these laboratories. So their focus for these lighthouse laboratories and partner labs, they want to continue to maximize capacity through mobilizing additional equipment and optimizing workflows. So when this first hit, with Bionano Genomics supporting the largest study on date for C19 disease susceptibility, with an easy to use workflow, cheaper, faster, and these 2 new mega labs that have been opened focusing on delivering more daily testing, investment into innovation, automation, and technology, do you think there's potential for some Sapphire sales there? Because I think there is potential. There's also studies cropping up here in the UK for the role of genetics and epigenetics in explaining differences between ethnic groups. So they're stating that ethnicity consists of a combination of genetic, cultural and geographical factors, and individuals' self-reported ethnicity is not necessarily consistent with their genetic ancestry. They're also working together in collaboration with lots of institutions. They're also always recruiting as well participants. They've got 500,000 participants in the UK Biobank. They've got 200,000 to 400,000 participants with rare and common diseases in the NIHR Bioresource platform. Within the NHS, they are also delivering cutting-edge genomic services. There's over 100,000 participants with rare diseases and cancer, and they said that they're doing personalized medicine and diagnosis, and for the first time they're going to have clinical diagnostic testing for NHS patients, embedding whole genome sequencing into routine care. So if they're going to be embedding whole genome sequencing into routine care in England, and this GeekWire article actually states, as a metric, 75% of structural variants that are present in that person's genome are missed by whole genome sequencing. Those are typically captured by long read phase genome assembly. Such variants are about 3 times more likely to cause disease. And with some studies, Pacific Bioscience Hi-Fi reads, detects only 72% of the large structural variations detected by optical genome mapping with Sapphire. Will we be used in the future for clinical diagnostic testing or alongside lots of the instruments that are used today? Actually, Bionano Genomics is talking about Cytopia and replacing the traditional methods. So from an email that I received a few months ago from somebody who's actively working in genomics, they said that Bionano Genomics has potential to replace standard cytogenetic techniques. They definitely see a case for them being used as gold standard cytogenetics technique. So let me know your thoughts on adoption. What do you want to hear next? I know we want to hear about some juicy cells, but what do you think is going to happen next? Are we going to get written into guidelines? Where do you think we'll see adoption first? Will we see it in the USA? Will we see it in the UK, in Europe, or even in Africa? We also have a team working on cells in Asia. And I don't know when this study is available, if it's already started to be run, but University of Edinburgh is actually looking for someone to study African trypanosomes. So African trypanosomiosis is also called sleeping sickness. It can be caused by a parasite, Trypanosoma bruci rhodesiense or gambesiense. Both types of African trypanosomiasis are transmitted by the tsetse fly. Yep, it's a type of insect that is native to much of tropical Africa, so they like to bite and transmit this disease. Another thing I noticed within my research when I was looking at University of Northampton and who was the academic there, it was a Mr. Jamal Nasir, a genetics lecturer. So with him being part of the consortium, I also looked into what projects he's working on. We can see here he's looking for a PhD student, Dr. Jamal Nasir, and this is to actually work on analyzing data from the 100,000 Genomes project. With Dr. Ravindra spearheading the C19 Host Genomic Structural Variation Consortium, and all of these academics, top researchers from across the world working together, because they're always looking at Dr. Ravindra Kohi and what he's been up to and what he's using his technologies. Will we see sales to all of these different institutions, all of these different people? And when I was at actually ACMG, I saw some of these names and I saw some of these institutions there. Out of the 2,383 entries, there were representatives from the University of the Philippines. How about Boston's Children's Hospital and Harvard Medical School? Yes, there was a lot as well. And the man of the hour, remember Cantaloupe, also talking about institutes. Short slaughtering will commence soon enough. You can see the chutes loading mid-fives with no abandonment. Pre-IPO prices, easy money. Of course, if we go to Fintel, we can see that the average price is $5.50 for a lot of these institutions, some of them buying 290,000 shares. So with them willing to build positions and actually invest at $5.50 on average, what do they predict Bionano Genomics is going to be in the future? One last thing, this is really interesting. When Dr. James Broach from Penn State Institution was talking about personalized medicine, optical genome mapping, when he said this here, this was very, very interesting for me. He said Bionano's technology improves oncologists with a global view of somatic structural variations across the entire tumor genome with 10,000 times greater resolution than karyotyping. We anticipate that OGM will yield unprecedented insights into solid and liquid tumors. Who knows this guy here? Remember what he said about liquid tumors and the ARC analysts and what they think, liquid biopsies is going to be worth.
Those markets served by liquid biopsy could be worth as much as $100 billion by the end of 2025.
If we're going to help yield, insights into solid and liquid tumors, can you imagine how much it's going to be worth the industry as a whole? That guy said 100 billion for liquid biopsies. Will we see a little slice of that cake? Will we see a little piece of the pie? So as always, I want to know what you guys are thinking. So drop me some information, drop me some comments down below. Tell me how you're feeling, tell me how you're thinking, and tell me if you're investing more or reducing your position or building your position out at this time. If you're able to support my channel, please do click join and select any tier. It helps me create videos every single day. But if you're unable to join channel memberships or the Patreon, just you hitting like and clicking subscribe on this video means the world to me. Thank you so much for your love and support, and I'm going to catch you in the next video. Mr. Invest a Lot, over and out, baby.